Hi YouTube, my name is DC and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about whether you should buy a rental property or buy an income generating ETF like MSTY. I'll first talk about the pros and cons of each, and then I'll give you my thoughts on why I prefer one or the other. We'll first talk about real estate. The pros here are it's a tangible asset. You physically own something that you could walk into and you could use. Next would be cash flow. Assuming you have a tenant, you would receive a steady cash flow every month and is very predictable. Third, property appreciation. Over time, the value of your home will go up, most likely. And then you get tax benefits when you go and sell the home and repurchase another home that you could play with. And then lastly is leverage. When you buy a home, you get a mortgage with it, and inherently you get an increased amount of leverage for how much money you're spending. The cons: active management. When you buy a home, you're responsible for the property, the home, and you have to manage and fix things yourself. Second, upfront cost. When you close on a home, there are quite a lot of fees, closing costs, down payment, maintenance required on the property before you even move in, and this could really add up. Vacancy risk. If you are using your property to be rented out for somebody, there's always a risk that you don't get a tenant in time, or there's a risk that you have a bad tenant or you have a slip in tenants, and you're stuck holding the bill for the mortgage every single month without any income coming in. And then lastly, it's illiquid. Buying a home takes quite a long time. It's not a quick process. Now, when we flip over to MSTY, the pros are, first, it's very liquid. You can buy and sell this ETF on your brokerage account, and you could transfer the funds to your bank within days. Second, it's a truly passive investment. That means no maintenance, no property management, no dealing with people and tenants. Third, there is a crazy potential for compounding gains. If you've seen my previous video, I kind of did a breakdown of what MSTY compounding over 4 years would look like, and there's a huge potential for upside on there. And then lastly, there is a very low barrier to entry. You can buy 1 or 2 shares to start, and you can work your way up. It's very different than buying rental property that would require you to have hundreds of $1,000s up front to go purchase. Now we'll talk about the cons. The underlying is very volatile. MSTY stock moves all the time, and if you're not actively tracking it, you could see a big slip in stock price, the NAV price, and they may not pay a consistent dividend every month. So far, over the last 1-2 years since inception, MSTY has been paying a dividend on average of $2 to $2.50, but that income is not always guaranteed. And then the last risk is concentration risk. When you're putting a large amount of money into MSTY, you're banking on the underlying performing a certain way. So MSTY is pegged to MSTR, and MSTR holds a ton of Bitcoin, so it's pegged to Bitcoin. So depending on the movement of all of those underlying assets, you're very concentrated to the price of what Bitcoin is. You could diversify with other funds, other ETFs, and if you're into income ETFs, YieldMax has quite a few. This is something you should consider if you plan on putting a lot of money towards this investment. Now, I personally prefer income generating ETFs. I prefer the freedom and the flexibility of having a truly passive investment. I've had both types of investments, real estate and ETFs, and I do not like the active property management side of owning real estate. I think that MSTY's low cost barrier means more people can start investing at earlier stages of their life, and not really having to do much. You kind of just let your money compound. Especially now in 2025, when home prices and mortgage rates are skyrocketing, I think most people can't even think about purchasing a home right now. So all in all, I think real estate is for people that want a tangible asset, something a little bit more stable, something that's been proven over the years. And I think that income ETFs are for people that want to have a little bit more risk, that want potentially higher returns. The underlying is very volatile on these ETFs, but the trade-off is you can have potentially higher returns. So that's my thoughts. I hope you guys liked the video. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the content, please comment, like, and subscribe. Until next time.